Hopefully the boys cooperate. Well, what's going on, ladies and DeGents? Welcome back to a new episode of the Distinguished DeGents podcast, your home and one of many homes of degenerate gambling. We are coming off of a very fast-paced, very winded week 6. Crazy week. Didn't really get too long into the handicap, so we're going to see how we stacked up on the week. I'm the guy on the left. I'm Steve, Big Bucks of Beta. Joining me, as always, is my partner in gambling, my co-host. It is the one, the only, the guy on the right, a.k.a. Jason Monty Mansman. Monty Mansman, stressful Monday. Must have been for you.
Yeah, it really was. And we're going to get into that soon. But the Sharps got skewered this weekend. It was
best betting week for Joe Public all year. I believe I sent you the clip too, but there was a guy, there was a post out from one of the bookies out in Vegas, and they basically said if the Bills win, this will be the worst loss we've had in a long. It might be the worst loss ever. The Bills managed to put it away. You know what? Should we start with the Bills? Are you feeling like raging? Are you ready?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. I'll give the quick intro then. Final score: Bills, New York Jets, Monday Night Football at MetLife Stadium. Bills 23, the Jets 20. Aaron Rodgers throws another Hail Mary in his career. 23 and 35, 294 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 brutal interception. Breece Hall, 18 carries, 113 rushing yards. Allen Lazard and Garrett Wilson, each over 100 receiving yards, each getting a touchdown. And the Jets still could not get the win. Jets doing Jets things. Once again, Rodgers in the 2-minute drill threw the interception. Josh Allen with the rushing touchdown, 19 for 25, 2 touchdowns through the air to Dawson Knox and Matt Collins. Otherwise, pretty quiet day on the receiving core. Mansman, it is your team. Taron Johnson, your Lord and Savior of Buffalo, once again, coming in clutch for you.
Too. Taylor Rapp had a couple huge plays.
AJ Epinesa as well.
Okay. First, real quick, the referees from that game should be fired immediately.
Oh, you're nice. You're too nice. You're too nice. Forget fired. They should be demoted to like Little League, like Pop Warner football. If they're just gonna throw flags,
they should be fired into the sun. They were. Well, I'm gonna save it. 9:47 p.m. October 14th, 2024. The Buffalo Bills season is over. I'm declaring it now. The Bills season is over.
Wow.
They will not win the Super Bowl. This season is over. They are done. Look, it may have only happened once, maybe with John Gruden when all those emails came out. Sean McDermott should be fired after this game. Sean McDermott should be fired today. Sean McDermott should be fired tomorrow. Sean McDermott needs to be fired and make Joe Brady the head coach. This guy is a bum. How do you rush? No, it's even worse. 21 seconds left in the half. You bring a 2-man rush against Aaron Rodgers, giving him all the time in the world. You call timeout like a bozo and then rush 2 guys and give up another Hail Mary. We saw
that was unbelievable. I don't mind the two.
Twice.
I was going to say, I don't mind the 2-man rush. You cannot give up the Hail Mary, though. If you only. You did.
We can, and we do every fucking time. This team is so badly. How many penalties did we have? 170? Now, mind you, a lot of those were due to the refs who should have been fired into the sun. AJ Epineza gets called for a roughing the passer. Bullshit.
That was bad. Even Aaron Rodgers saying it was bullshit. By the way, did you catch the South Park reference he made during the post-game interview?
Yeah.
That was beautiful. Might as well be playing fucking Sarcastaball, a literal South Park episode making fun of this exact point. That's a problem. If you're Roger Goodell, this is a problem. If you're star of the NFL.
What's a bigger problem is that Sean McDermott still has a job. That's the problem.
By the way, both teams had 11 penalties on the game. 11 each. This game was so... I fell asleep at the fourth quarter. It was so unwatchable due to all the penalties. It was...
How can you watch Aaron Rodgers fucking get the piss beat out of him for 2 weeks in a row, and you come out and play soft zone, fucking soft zone? Joe Brady's your head coach. Sean McDermott, pack your bags. You're gone. 9:47 p.m., October 14th. It's declared the Bills season is over. You give up a Hail Mary. You literally let this decrepit, disgusting Jets team that's going nowhere hang around. The Bills are probably going to win the division by default. Although, I don't know. Miami today.
It's early.
Comes back. If Tua comes back for Miami, they still got a legitimate shot to win this division because the Bills suck. The Bills are their coach sucks. Josh Allen, once again, 85.9 ESPN quarterback rating, saves us yet again. Sean McDermott defended him against Baltimore, didn't go completely crazy against Houston. This week, the rage is coming out. This guy is a total bum. The Bills suck. Sean McDermott, pack your bags. Get a new job. This season is over. Week 6, October 14th, 9:47 p.m. Mark it on your calendar. Another season where the Bills will not have the Super Bowl. We probably won't even win a playoff game. We're terrible. Garbage.
Yeah, I hate to say it, and look, you know me, I'm a generic adopted Bills Mafia member, but even I would say that, like, you do not look like a Super Bowl contender right now. You look like a one and done.
Tyler Bass, gone. Done.
Oh, God.
Gone.
I mean, Greg the Leg, too, shanked a couple kicks, if memory serves me well. I mean, was that just a weird... Yeah, I mean, God, the kicking was bad. The refs were bad. Really, what should have been a great Monday Night Football matchup was just a really, like, ugly, unwatchable product. The NFL should be ashamed to have put on that product. They should be ashamed of the referees they are putting forth in this league. 20-year guys, 16-year guys. I love how they flash that, but you know what that tells me? They still suck. Still tells me they don't know how to call a game. Still doesn't tell me.
By the way, very happy we got Amari Cooper. That was a good trade.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that next, actually.
Brandon Beane saved himself for another year. Because honestly, Brandon Beane, he's close too. He's really fucking close. Von Miller, suspended.
Oh, yeah, from the bullshit last year with the fucking domestic violence incident. Glad to see that finally caught up to him.
A couple bad draft picks. Ed Oliver hurt. Greg Rousseau doing nothing. Keon Coleman, bust.
I don't think Keon's a bust yet. I mean, he's a rookie. We got to get him to break out. And if he's the one, like, the thing about the Amari Cooper pickup, which I love the value you got for him. You essentially gave up a draft pick to get Amari Cooper. You guys needed a desperate number one wide receiver one. You gave up a pick. I think you gave up a third and a seventh or something like that, and you got like a sixth in Cooper.
Well, we bought low because he's got no numbers this year. But remember what he did with Dak? Like,
remember what he did for the Raiders? Remember what he did with Derek Carr? Like, I do. I mean, Deshaun Watson is such a bust that, like, I mean, Amari Cooper, I know the drop passes are a bit of a concern, but I think Josh Allen's going to find a way to get it in his fucking hands. I mean, if anyone's going to do it, it's him.
Yeah, because otherwise our receiving core, Curtis Samuel, shit. Matt Collins, shit. Keon
That's
Coleman,
not true.
bust.
Matt Collins has 2 touchdowns for you guys. He's a good red zone threat, I gotta say.
He sucks. He's terrible. He can't run the routes correctly. He can't catch a football. He needs to take off his fucking shoes and be barefoot in fucking Nigeria or some shit. He needs
Jesus
to go
Christ.
there, Nigeria, Buenos Aires, Singapore, whatever third world shithole. No offense to the people. Whatever third world shithole he wants to go to with his fucking barefoot gimmick, because he sucks. He literally can't get open like the rest of these Bills receivers. Khalil Shakir is the only one who could get open, and unfortunately he was hurt, so he can't get open. It's amazing Knox and Kincaid could even get a catch, because literally these teams are just playing man-to-man, and the Bills have no speed, nothing.
No. Nothing. The speed is a problem.
Ray Davis.
Amari Cooper. I will say Amari Cooper being able to break away is going to be clutch. I think you're going to get a new reignited Bills offense. But what about the Jets picking up the stereotypical Davante Adams? I wanted to get your thoughts on that real quick.
Too little, too late, buddy. Don't you get the feel it's too little, too late? Like this team, their defense sucks. Like they're not good.
I don't. I really don't. I just think, I mean, you really look at this Jets team, look at the last few opponents they've gone up against. Minnesota in London. Minnesota's looking like the number one NFL team right now, debatably. The Steelers defense is always going to be a tough juggernaut. You have to go up, or actually, that's next week. What am I thinking? The Bills, the divisional opponent, they always struggle against some way, some form.
No, if anything, the Jets in New York have been good against the Bills recently. Like if you like that game, Bills 3 straight road games, going to a place where they struggle with a backup running back. Like
and they win.
Lose that game.
Jets being Jets. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, they just suck. They're done. They're dead.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to. Not sure what to make of the Jets. I don't know if it's too little, too late though. I mean, if we're going into week 7, they're 2-4. If they can get to 4-4 at 500 by week 8 or by week 9, I mean, anything's possible. And the Jets, I would say after the Steelers, they kind of have a relatively relaxed schedule, I would say. I think it's like the Jets and the Bills have they're tied for bottom 5 in terms of easiest schedules. So, I mean, just looking here, they have the Steelers, then they have to go to New England. They host the Texans, but then they get the Cardinals, Colts, Seahawks. They get the Dolphins if Tua does come back. Jags, Rams.
I can see them going 0-4 in that stretch. They could lose to the Cardinals. We've seen the Cardinals beat San Fran. They could lose to Seattle.
They could lose to the Patriots. That's for sure. We've seen that a million times.
Well, I mean, you think about it, the Jets, to them, if they lost that game last night, where literally the Bills not only had the refs against them, but they themselves did everything possible to keep. They gave up a Hail Mary, keep them in the game, and then they did nothing on every offensive drive. Illegal formation. False. The Bills were literally in the entire third quarter. Every drive started 1st and 20. Every single fucking drive.
Yeah, it was fucking unreal.
If you can't win that game, you could lose any game.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Last point I'll make is I don't know if it is I was gonna say the Davante. I don't know if it's too little, too late. I think the question is this is going to truly answer whether Aaron Rodgers is washed. If Davante Adams, your boy, comes in and you put up this same performance, even on offense, and you still can't win games, you still in the 2-minute drill throw an interception, regardless of whose fault it is, regardless of somebody. No offense. I don't want to hear Mike Williams slip and that's the reason they lost. No offense. Aaron Rodgers, Mike Williams was not, the Let's Talk Jets guys have been pissed off all year because they're like, well, Mike Williams isn't on the field. And I'm like, yeah, it's a very good fucking point. Why is Mike Williams not on the field? The minute he's on the field, he fucking slips over his own 2 fucking feet, face plants at MetLife, and gives the ball to Taron Johnson. It's like, oh, well, shit. That's why he's not on the fucking field. There you go, dipshit. No offense. I don't want to hear that. Rodgers, in a game where he threw a Hail Mary to the Bills, literally had over 100, I think it was over 150 passing yards in the first half. Nothing in the second half. Was completely fucking useless. Didn't do a damn thing either. Just it was a game they should have won, but they didn't. The Bills should have lost, but they won. That was my key takeaway there.
Yeah. Last point in regards to this game, and I know we went long on this one just because it's Bills Jets, but yeah, no. I just wonder if with Devontae Adams now, like, is Garrett Wilson going to be pissed off because he's not going to get his target? Is Lazard like? I'm just wondering. Like, it's getting close to the point with the Jets. You're 2-4. You basically blew your best chance to win the division. Like, I think they're one loss away. Like, they're a bad performance from the Steelers away, where a lot of people on 1-year contracts start to make business decisions. And I think that's the what is shit like.
And I think that's the weird benefit of getting a Devontae Adams with, I think, a third is what they essentially gave up. It is a 1-year contract deal. I think the Raiders are even taking a bit, or if it's not the Raiders, I think it might be the Packers, but they're taking on a bit of the salary hit here. So, I mean, for the Jets, if you're Garrett Wilson, do I get pissed off? Not really. I think I go get the bag this year and, prove myself with whatever I can do. You've done enough this year through 6 games. But guess what? If you don't like that Rodgers went and got his boy Devontae Adams and this season does go to shit, well, guess what? Aaron Rodgers is probably done next year and he's retiring or moving on. Devontae Adams is on a 1-year. He's probably leaving too. You know what the Jets get to do next year with some of these picks? They get to draft new quarterbacks. They get to draft new guys. And unfortunately, you have to start over with that. But you've gone through a Zach Wilson. You've now gone through an Aaron Rodgers. So now guess what you are? You're an experienced receiver. I wouldn't be bitching if I was him. The only person I would be worried about is Lazard if I was him, because I know he's had a lot of specific issues per se. I know that he's had issues with getting open. I know he's dropped. I think he may have dropped a couple passes too, a couple key passes, but I'd just be concerned with him in terms of production because he was the number 2. He's probably dropping to number 3 or number 4 at this point.
Yeah. I'll leave it at this. I think this team is a loss in Pittsburgh away from complete disaster because I could definitely see Rodgers. He's already starting the blame game with blaming Williams for running the wrong route. And I think they're like,
oh, yeah. See, in that. No, that's where I get pissed off.
Decisions being made.
That's a typical Aaron Rodgers bullshit, though. It's never Aaron Rodgers' fault. He fucking abhors the fact that people would say he got a head coach fired. But no offense, the minute that happened, he got his boy Devontae Adams. It's like if I'm Aaron Rodgers, just own the fucking GM. Just own it. Like, you want to be this prick? You want to get people... Just own it and be like, yeah, Robert Saleh sucked as a head coach. He was no good. We're going to be better without him. I can now go get my boy... Like, if he just owned and leaned into it, I'd have a little bit more respect for him. But no, Mike Williams ran the wrong route. No, how about he fucking slipped? Like, you threw it right to him. So it had to have been somewhat of the right route.
It's
like,
kind of weird because it almost is like if he didn't run the route that way, I feel like it was going to be picked up.
Then Rodgers threw a bad throw.
He underthrew the ball into the space, at least where there was an opening. Like, if he ran that towards the sideline, I mean, I don't know. It was a bad throw. It was underthrown. Whatever. Bills are lucky to have won in their season. Both these teams are going nowhere. So that's the thing.
Going nowhere fast. All right, we'll get back on track.
Some of these.
Yeah, we do have to talk about the Thursday night football. We normally gleam over it because we get to that in the Friday episode, but we did not do that last week due to the wedding responsibilities. 49ers 36, Seahawks 24, Thursday night football. Seattle, God, they are cratering back down to earth. Brock Purdy, 3 passing touchdowns, 255. Deebo Samuel, 102 yards with 1 touchdown, 3 catches. George Kittle, 2 touchdowns, 58 receiving yards, 5 catches. Jordan Mason looks like is questionable for next week. He got 73 rushing yards for me. Thank fuck for fantasy. But, yeah, backup Isaac Guerrero came in 99 yards on 10 carries.
That Shanahan, just plug and play.
Literally the Shanahan plug and play. Yeah, overall take, we went with the Niners here. And both teams were coming off similar losses, but like I said, Niners should have won, but they lost. Seattle never really had a lead, and that was kind of just telling. But once again, San Francisco historically owns the Seahawks. Kyle Shanahan has an ownership stake in this franchise now. Doesn't matter who the head coach is. That's been confirmed. Geno Smith, 30 for 52, 312 passing yards. I don't know if it's coaching at this point. I don't know if Seattle was just overblown after 2 weeks and we overreacted. I'm actually interested to get your thoughts about Seattle.
Very quick. I don't have much for this because this was like, of all the results, this was like the least surprising one, to tell you the truth. I feel like we've seen this 100 times. Seattle's defense, they got fat playing against Skylar Thompson and a couple other shit quarterbacks. And now their schedule has gotten harder, and we're to the same where their offense is okay, their defense is really bad, and they're getting scorched. Seattle's not good. I knew the regression was coming. Should have bet more on the Niners than I did rather than that stupid prop play, but whatever. Niners were the clear choice, and, I mean, we've seen this 100 times. It's just Seattle. Seattle is what it is. San Francisco is what they are. It's easy as that.
Yeah, unfortunately I had Seattle under 22 and a half points as a prop. That one hurt. Because I'm pretty sure that one came in super late. I'm trying to get the scoring drives here, but it is of course not loading. So that's lovely.
What was it? Over under what?
22 and a half was the total for Seattle, and I played
unfortunately a minute 44.
Played the fucking under.
Yeah, minute 44 left in the game.
That was just a killer. It's sort of weird. Like the trend for me is we're gonna go through these games. A lot of witching hour, a lot of fourth quarter bad beats for me. Yeah. And we'll go into the numbers later, but yeah, a lot of bets where I felt like I should have hit and profited for the week, just came up short. That was a big one. I had a unit play on that did not come in. All right, moving on. London game. Boy, oh boy, the Jags. Dougie P might be getting fired after this one. Not good. Not good. Jacksonville 16. The Bears 35. There was only 2 games I got dead wrong this week, Money Management, which is shocking to say when I look back at it. I had, out of the 14 games, 10 favorites I had picked.
Yep. Favorites were very good. Home underdogs especially went like 0-8 ATS.
Yeah, got it. What a fucking weird, witchy betting week in terms of that trend. This was one I was just dead wrong. Thought Jacksonville would be a good bounce back game in London against what I thought would be a potentially fraudulent Bears. I thought this was the spot you take it. I had the under of my week here, and Caleb Williams just kind of grabbed his fingernails, painted them, smacked me in the face with them, and got 4 touchdowns on me. Well, so, rough way to start Sunday.
Well, the theme of the week, the sharps got skewered, and this was a sharp play. All the sharps like the Jags, and Jags are on auto fade. I don't think you could.
Yep.
I can't put any money on them. They're no good. Their defense is just god awful. They're non-existent. And Trevor Lawrence, I've declared it bust.
Trevor Lawrence is a bust. It's time. I think you can say it. He's a bust. He's not the guy. I mean, my only concern in terms of Trevor Lawrence, I'm wondering if this is like, if he's like the new Blake Bortles. Like, is it going to be that, like, you know, right now we think he's a bum, he's a bust, he's no good, but we look back and we see, like, the new guy, whoever it is, and we're like, wow, this guy sucks. Damn, give back Trevor Lawrence. Because ever since I've seen Trevor Lawrence, I've been like, wow, maybe Blake Bortles wasn't that bad.
You know what?
Maybe he was okay.
Real quick on Trevor Lawrence, because I want to keep this recap moving, but you know who You know what I think his potential is? Max potential? Jared Goff. That's what he looks like to me, a Jared Goff. Like maybe one day he'll get a really good coach. He'll be like a kind of gritty system quarterback. But other than that, this guy, the best quarterback prospect since like John Elway. Don't disrespect John Elway like that.
Do not disrespect my boy John.
He's not
Lord Elway
level of bust, but he is, he reminds me of like Bills drought quarterbacks. J.P. Osman, a Ryan Fitzpatrick type. That's Trevor Lawrence. He's like a Baker Mayfield, Ryan Fitzpatrick 2.0.
Except like he's been there for like a couple years now, so it's like I'm really trying to think of a compare. Like
Baker Mayfield.
He reminds me of like Rex Grossman when he was with the Bears, and they just kept letting him start, and people were like, "Why are we letting this guy start? He's no good." And then he's eventually going to get released.
Baker Mayfield, where he had the one good year and then was shit. Where Jalen Hurts is, well, we'll get to the Eagles.
Yeah. Real quick, I'm going to punish myself here because I only did get 2 wrong. Yeah, I got to do this. I don't have any Catch Fire or Incinerator today, but this is Mango Habanero Chili Whiskey.
God.
This shit's really, really fucking going to burn. Because why are we going to rip the tickets? Why are we going to wallow in the losses when we could just burn them away? Or in this case, we could just,
That might be worse than the Incinerator. That's oh
my God. I like spicy, though, so it's not like...
Mango Habanero.
Oh, God, yeah. This is not my favorite by any means, but cheers.
So, yeah, wash that one down, and then let's get to the next one.
Oh,
God.
burned.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Right.
Washington 23, Baltimore 30. Baltimore gets the win. They get the cover at the 6.5 like we handicap. Under does not hit. 52.5 was the total. This was another one. Oh, God. Sorry. Baltimore, I had the under 52.5 locked in. And a fucking late pass interference on a fucking fourth quarter drive. And Washington gets the field goal, gets the over. For some people who bet Baltimore 7.5, they lose the cover.
Yikes.
So this is just proving that I don't think the key number is 6 anymore. I'm starting to really believe it's 7. Because this was a game where 7.5 you lose, 6.5 you win. So just a real kind of fishy number there, but I got the 6.5, so that covered. Had it in a teaser, that leg hit. I had the spot. This is where you fade Washington, but this was a lot closer than anticipated.
Yeah. I think it was more of a confirmatory game of like, if you increase Commanders in your power rankings, this supports it. Both teams really,
100%.
It was nothing wrong. I mean, I think Baltimore, when you look at sort of the percentages, they were kind of the favorite sort of most of the way down. And, they were able to run the ball at will. But credit to Washington. They hung tough in a tough place to play, especially Lamar Jackson, NFC killer. We know that. This is one of those not much to say because both teams played pretty well. I'm not downgrading the Commanders off of that loss. If anything, that's a
I wouldn't. I mean, Baltimore's rush defense really came in clutch here. I mean, they held Austin Eckler to 21 yards. Yeah. Jaden Daniels, they held him to 22 rushing yards. Jaden Daniels, 269 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Ravens, 323 passing yards. Lamar threw a pick, 1 touchdown. Derrick Henry, this was a big Derrick Henry step-up game, and it shows. But Zay Flowers also fucking balled out. 9 catches, 132 yards. Shout out to the SGPN guys. They very late on Sunday gave out Zay Flowers props. They were really heavy on him. That came in good for those guys, so glad they won. Mark Andrews even got a touchdown. So this was this is the great Ravens win I think Ravens fans were anticipating. Really, though, you got to give some credit to Washington here. They hung tough.
Washington is definitely a team on the rise, and Baltimore, they look like a team that could be a Super Bowl team. They stop the run. Whenever you're going to make a team one-dimensional, you got a chance. And you look at the Ravens now with Derrick Henry and what they're doing on offense. You think that in the winter, if they could run the ball like that, Lamar could make just a few key throws, nothing crazy. This could be the year for Baltimore. This really could.
Can they beat the Chiefs? That's really what it comes down. Can they go back and actually beat the Chiefs this time? That's really what it comes down to any other AFC contender. Can you go and beat the Chiefs? This version of Baltimore, not week 1, this week 7 we saw against the Commanders, where albeit it was a bit close, really never got out of hand. Never really was a question about the Ravens winning. That team is going to beat anybody in this league. The Ravens that beat the Bills Sunday Night Football, that team will win the Super Bowl.
Well, I'm discounting that win because the Bills are no good.
Well, I'm saying the way the Ravens played, not necessarily how bad it beat them.
The Ravens, real quick, they're going to have to go to Kansas City. Kansas City basically has a 2.5 game lead on like everyone in the AFC.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough to beat them in Kansas City. So.
Yep, Ravens also, they got the Monday Night Football look ahead. They're going to Tampa this week, right after all the hurricane mess. So this is going to be an interesting Monday Night Football spot.
NFC killer, buddy.
There you go. All right, next up, Tampa Bay 50. Oh God, was it 52 or 51? Oh God, what was it? 27 for New Orleans. We're just gonna go with 50. Here we go. 51. My apologies. 51-27 for Tampa Bay. Baker Mayfield, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 325 yards. Sean Tucker, 136 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. Bucky Irving, 81 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. Chris Godwin, 2 touchdowns for 125 yards. The one man who didn't do shit, Mike Evans, 2 catches for 34 yards. Spencer Rattler debuted, 22 for 40, 243 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Alvin Kamara, 1 rushing touchdown. Not much else for the Saints. Yeah, God, I don't want to declare the Bucs as a phony team. The Bucs offense, if they do end up winning this division bet that I have right now in my futures portfolio, it will be because of Baker Mayfield. I won't be like most of these other guys and overhype him and say he's going to be an MVP candidate this year. I know the numbers may support it. They may not. I don't like the way he's playing. I don't like that he's almost like Josh Allen last year with all the turnovers. But I don't know if necessarily he's really the reason why they're hanging tough, to be honest with you. There's just something missing with this Bucs team that really concerns me. The Bucs defense, if I'm Todd Bowles, whoever your defensive coordinator is, he has to go. That defensive coordinator has to go. He should be fired immediately.
Yes, Spencer Rattler wasn't bad.
Yeah, I mean, that was just the Bucs are going to be a one-and-done team, potentially, depending on who they play. Won't be because of Baker. The problem is, if you stop Baker Mayfield through the air and your pass defense is good, you could beat the Bucs, no fucking problem. Denver fucking proved that point very well this year.
Well, look, it's very nice when your best bet wins by, 24 points, so that's always good.
How were you feeling at halftime, though, when it was fucking neck and neck for no reason?
Honestly, it was weird because it felt like a game that the Bucs should win, but midway through the third, I was like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Yeah, by halftime, it was 20. Literally, end of the first quarter, it was 17-0 Tampa. End of the second quarter, going into halftime, 24-27. Literally, 17 unanswered points from Tampa or from New Orleans. I mean,
and then for a while, and it stayed that way pretty much midway through the third quarter.
After that, it was nothing from the Saints. It was touchdown Chris Godwin.
Phony final, really.
I don't know about phony final.
Late, they got a couple scores really late in that game.
Yeah, I mean that's true.
To make it ugly.
Yeah, Bucky Irvin, Sean Tucker late. With under 6 minutes in the fourth. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I'm just not ready to raise the Bucks on my power rankings here. I'm not really ready to declare them playoff contenders. That defense is too much of a concern. In one quarter, you gave up 27 points. That's not good. I don't care. I don't care if you shut them out a whole half. If at any point I know you could let up 27, that's a concern.
Yeah. No, it's time for Dennis Allen to go bye-bye. The Saints are done.
Ooh.
It's over. It's over.
What's his record now? I'm curious. Like, does he have a losing record still, like permanently? Let me see. 4-12 with the Raiders. 4-12 with the Raiders. 0-4 with the Raiders. Then 7-10, 9-8, 2-4. Yeah, he's 20. This guy is 26-50 as a coach. He's 18-22 with New Orleans. Like, have we seen enough? Like, this guy's no good.
Yeah, it's over. They're done. They're done. It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, lots of moves there. Cleveland 16, Philadelphia 20. Speaking of phony finals, this game was a fucking shit show. There's two angles we could go about this. We could rip on Deshaun Watson again. We could rip on Philadelphia again. We could rip on Nick Sirianni probably again. I don't know where the anger starts or where it ends. This was a Dumbo pick by me, saying let's go with the 9.5 for Philly, but I fucking hated that number. I hated the spot. I literally was not confident in this number for Philly, but this was just an auto fade of the Browns. And quite frankly, they still deserve to be on auto fade. The Browns shouldn't be. You should not be betting the Browns catching any points anywhere yet. What did Deshaun Watson and this offense really do to spark your eye and say, wow, next week, if they catch 6.5 next week, if they catch 7, I'm running to the book and betting on the Browns. I mean, no offense, 7 of those 16 came on a blocked field goal. No touchdowns again for Deshaun Watson. I mean, by the way, remember the prop I gave out? 3,250 passing yards for Deshaun?
Yeah, that's going to be an easy win.
Yeah, you know how many he has this year? Only through 7 games? 1,000. 1,000. He has 10 games to get 2,030 yards. So I think this is going to be... He might get benched. I mean, I know it's not looking like it. He should be benched already. I mean, what the fuck is Kevin Stefanski thinking keeping this guy around? Like, I don't care that Nick Chubb's coming back next week. What, like, the state of the Browns is fucking so abysmal. Like, that whole organization should be fucking ashamed. That organization should be fired from top to bottom. Like, honest to God.
Watson trade's gonna go down as probably the worst in history.
Worse than Russ, which is crazy to think, but worse than Russ.
Yeah. And they're just, I mean, I'll give Denver a ton of credit. Didn't work out with Russ. Gone cutting bait. We're gonna eat the cost, and we're gonna struggle. It is what it is. We're gonna move on. The fact that Cleveland's just literally sinking on the Titanic and just not even going to the lifeboats. But this is more about the Eagles. The Eagles are just not very good. Like, I thought Eagles would. Now, I know it's kind of a look ahead spot. They play the Giants this week. But boy, coming off the bye, I mean, I thought they might like look not great, but boy, their offense, I don't know, man. They're just like not inspiring. They're just not very good. I think the key here that we learned is that if you shut down Saquon, you shut down like the excitement of this offense. Because if you look at the stats, Jalen Hurts, 16 for 25, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. That's a game you want your quarterback to have. A.J. Brown, albeit very late, very last minute, huck and heave, long play to get the fucking touchdown there to A.J. Brown. Same thing with Devonta Smith.
He got a touchdown, but it kind of came off of a random ass long bomb. Really boring, uninspiring offense for the Eagles, but I mean, that game kind of reminded me of the 2015 Denver Broncos offense where it was uninspiring. Peyton didn't look good, but we were winning games. And we were running it on the back of the defense, and that was kind of like this game here where it was like in a game where the Eagles offense was uninspiring, where they really couldn't get much done on the ground. The Eagles defense did what they were supposed to do. They stepped up against a real bad quarterback. They got the win. Again, phony final, which really sucks. Like, if it wasn't for that field goal return, it's 20-9. Yeah. They get the cover, and we're sitting here saying, well, Eagles still don't look really good, but God, the Browns are even worse. It's like, well, no offense. Like, I think everyone else in the Browns is doing what they had to do, but Deshaun Watson needs to go.
Yeah, like, Deshaun Watson sucks.
He needs to be benched. Yeah, I got nothing else. Oh, yeah, Nick Sirianni yelling at the fans. I have a take, but what's your thoughts?
This guy needs to go, too. I mean, he's the quarterback doesn't even like him anymore. He's yelling at fans. He's no good. He doesn't offer anything. The Eagles, I think the Eagles have been one of my biggest disappointments. Like, I know they're 3-2. I just thought they'd be better. Like, Nick Sirianni sucks. Shut your fucking mouth. You beat the Browns by 4 points at home. And
then you bring your kids to the press conference, which, no offense, like, I have nothing against that. I don't mind the humility of it, of like, this is just a game. We all have family to think about. Like, I don't mind that angle. Don't be this loudmouth prick yelling at fans, acting like you're hot shit and then hiding behind your family trying to pull that angle. Like, no offense. You want to talk that shit? Do the same attitude in front of, like, talk your talk. If you're going to do it in front of the camera, do it like we do every fucking week. We get on here on YouTube, albeit with no viewers right now. We got fucking no one here listening, but I'm not afraid to fucking say what I think. Nick Sirianni, you're a fucking bitch. You are a little bitch who hides behind his kids, who wants to act tough. You're a tough kid who acts tough, and then the minute someone actually stands up to you and throws a punch, you fucking cower and hide. Like, you need to quit.
This is the same guy who was giving crap to Chiefs fans after winning a regular season game last year. I mean, this guy's just that's what he is.
Yeah, I'm done with Nick Sirianni. That's my only problem. Like, you want to talk the shit, but stand on business. Don't fucking be a bitch. And at the press conference, you were a little bitch. I fucking can't stand it. All right, Colts 20, Tennessee 17. Lot of Fugazi, a lot of tomfoolery, a lot of craziness happening towards game time. No Jonathan Taylor, might not be Michael Pittman. Oh, Michael Pittman starting. No Anthony Richardson. We're starting Joe Flacco. Oh, Mason Rudolph shows that. Nope, it's Will Levis. Really hard to get a tough angle, but this is why I honestly bet on the Colts. Like, a lot of sharps were like, Anthony Richardson will probably get the start. And if he gets the start, we're fading right. And I'm like, well, again, this comes back to what's the other side? The other side is you're more likely than not betting on Will Levis. And no offense, like, was betting on Mason Rudolph a good bet either? I didn't think it was. He may be an upgrade, but is he really much of an upgrade where he's worth betting on?
Yeah, it's funny too because the Titans are winning the whole game, but discount Josh Allen threw yet another interception. The best bet on the board continues. Oh, by the way, Titans at Bills. You bet I think they're in Buffalo. Titans in Buffalo against the Bills. You better believe the Will Levis interception prop is making a comeback this week.
I'm definitely hitting that prop the minute it comes out with you. Like that.
Here's what happened. I saw Joe Flacco was starting, and I told you, if Joe Flacco plays, I'm betting the Colts. That's what happened.
And you hit.
Yep. I don't know, man. Tennessee sucks. The Sharps that's the one problem with the Sharps. They are perfectly content to go down with the Titanic. Like, Tennessee has been the sharp pick for 6 weeks now, 5 weeks, and
have it been 6 weeks? And
they had a bye, thankfully. So the Sharps, literally, the Sharps lost money on the bye. They bet the Titans -3 on the bye.
Yeah, what? I know the Colts defense is bad. Like, they have not been great, but like, that was like, you want to talk about uninspiring performances? Will Levis had less than 100 passing yards. What were the Sharps thinking? Like, literally, like, they were like, oh, well, if it's Joe Flacco, that would have made more sense. Well, no offense, you knew that going all fucking week. We did the same handicapping they did. They probably had better materials. They had better tools. They had fucking, like, computer analytics probably telling them what to do. And it's like, no offense. What side of Tennessee makes sense that you want to bet on? Yeah. That's my problem here. The Colts, at least, like, with Anthony Richardson, we know what they are. And I still think they're better than Tennessee. Even with Joe Flacco, I would say 99% of people think that the Colts are better. You were one of them. This game proved to me with Joe Flacco, it's actually probably one and the same.
No, don't worry.
Flacco had a very fluky touchdown. He probably should have had that picked. He almost got sacked on it. That was fucking fluky, but he got the touchdown. Everybody's like praising and harping on Joe Flacco. He's looking like 2018 Joe Flacco that got benched for Lamar after an injury. Like, he's not that good, guys. Like, in Cleveland, he was a perfect pocket passer quarterback in a Kevin Stefanski system. Now with Shane Steichen, I think they're trying to do something similar, but they're also trying to work with Anthony Richardson, who's mobile. No offense, Flacco's not mobile. This is the kind of game you're just going to stereotypically get. It's the same thing we got with Gardner Minshew.
Look, Flacco's not good. He's just better than Richardson. And the Colts are a 500 team with Joe Flacco.
And I think they're a 500 team with Richardson.
Richardson's a bum.
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's too early to tell or not. He had some bad performances, but again, we'll get full season analysis. We'll see how right you are. Houston 41, New England 21 in New England. The debut of Drake May.
I got nothing on this one.
I got nothing on this one either, really.
You can't even take away anything from Drake May. Great, they scored 21 points. A lot of garbage time. You can't really.
He got a second quarter touchdown. Yeah, this was a game that just was slightly close. It looked like that the Patriots might get a backdoor cover late. Just sort of never happened, unfortunately, for the Patriots. But this was a game they had no business being close in. I didn't have too much either. This was a stereotypical Patriots loss. I like what Drake May did on film, though, like, in comparison to what we've been seeing with Jacoby Brissett. Like, I think Brissett's career is over.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, May's definitely the choice. You got to ride him out, see what you got. He did okay in garbage time, but the Texans were pretty much 75% to win the game, pretty much all game. Nothing to say. Texans handled their business. All the sharps who were running to bet New England.
Well, again, what were you thinking? Like,
yeah, that was.
What were they thinking? Crazy. Yeah. Well, again, and that I said this too very briefly, but let me go more in depth. Last week, what was the sharps' big thing? Well, dogs of 6.5 or more have done very well this year, and a lot of those teams they've actually won outright. So the Patriots are getting 7.5. Therefore, it's a good. It's like, no, it's the Patriots. Stop right there. Say that out loud. I'm betting the Patriots. Stop.
The rookie quarterback.
With a debut of a rookie quarterback.
Literally
stop.
On a short week or whatever.
On a short week. Stop.
Oh, no.
Say
the
those.
London look ahead. On the London look ahead.
Stop. Like sometimes they talk. Like, I have this problem too. You say things, you just don't think about them. This was something that, like, the sharp should have stopped and really read out loud. And, like, sometimes saying that and then reading it in front of your face is different. That's why, like, I take my notes right here on my laptop and I read them as I go. Because sometimes I'll catch myself saying, like, something really stupid and I have to stop myself. Because it's like, wow, that actually makes no point and that goes against my handicap. Maybe I really have to rethink this. Like, again, Patriots are +7. That's a good number. Why? Why was that ever a good number? In what situation in world was this a good number? I couldn't make heads or tails of that. That was so baffling to me. The sharps were all over that. I hammered the Texans -6.5. Thank fuck that was one of the few bets I did get, unfortunately, for the week. God, dude, that was so easy. I should have fucking hit more on it. I got nothing else, though. Or do you have anything?
No, I got nothing. We're done with that.
All right, Arizona, Green Bay, my best bet of the week. Green Bay easily wins, easily covers. Also got the under 47.5 in that game at the last minute on a basically a fourth quarter witching hour moment. That was the one that did come through clutch for me. Don't really have too much here to say other than like this is exactly who I thought these teams were. The Packers at home, even with Jordan Love, regardless if it's Malik Willis or not, like Packers at home, you got to take them. There's no business betting on this Cardinals team against decent teams.
Really bad spot for the Cardinals. I wouldn't judge them too harshly.
I would.
Really bad spot, a back-to-back road spot coming off their Super Bowl. Just a really bad spot.
Sure, I guess. I mean, they had all their players healthy. I know Marvin Harrison Jr. went out early with concussion, but I mean, like for fuck's sakes, like I mean, if that was a catalyst, I don't know what was, but the Packers ran away with this one. Both teams have a look at Arizona Monday Night Football. They're hosting the Chargers. Green Bay, I think, also has a look ahead week 8. They are playing. Let's see here. Where are they? They're not on bye. There's no byes next week. Why did I... Sorry about this. Oh, the Jaguars. That's what they look at. They have to go on the road. That's what it is. Okay, so, yeah. Arizona has the look ahead, though, Monday night. So, yeah, I don't know. Bad spot for them. I think they have another bad spot next week. I got nothing else, though.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, nothing else on that one. Pretty straightforward. I'm not going to judge Arizona too much because it just felt like a really bad spot. And Green Bay did what I expected. It's the good weeks. It's sometimes hard to do these recaps because what am I going to say? This is how they expected the game to go. So I'm not angry or surprised. It's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah. Oh, here's one I got some thoughts on. Denver 16, Chargers 23.
Okay, there you go, buddy. Irate.
Dog of the week. Really
put down.
Yeah, dog got put down behind the shed. Yeah, literally like my dog's right now, passed out on the couch, just not lifeless, not moving. Sort of like this Broncos offense in the first half of this game. Just lifeless, not moving. Looked like someone put a bullet in their fucking head. Really unfortunate loss of Pat Surtain too to the concussion protocol. Not sure what his status is going to be for Thursday night yet. Does not look like he's going to be playing, though. So that's going to be an interesting take when it comes to this handicap. Yep, okay, it's official. It's 3 hours ago. He's been ruled out. So big unfortunate loss there.
Who's out?
Pat Surtain.
Oh, geez, that hurts.
That was a big killer, and I think this Chargers game showed that. Really weird start too. Like Jim Harbaugh leaving early to go. He had to go to the medical tent, and they thought he had some arrhythmia or something, and he had a weird heart issue. So like that was a weird start where there was now all of a sudden an interim head coach. Then Pat Surtain got the concussion. Then Harbaugh came back. But yeah, like with Surtain out, like the Chargers were able to essentially move the ball at will. And it kind of opened up the middle of the field, which normally Pat Surtain does a great job at shutting down, especially on the man-to-man one-on-one coverages. That was just certainly lacking there in this game. I don't know if this is a fucking Joe Lombardi issue. I don't know if this is Sean Peyton trying to tighten the fucking collar on Bo Nix after last week's fucking Ferris Bueller debacle, but like, I don't know, Sean. Maybe you need to fucking let go of the leash. Maybe you need to fucking quit choking the poor pup. Because he seems to do pretty fucking well when he goes and scrambles and does on his own. Seems to be able to move the ball, unlike whatever bullshit plan he came up with in this fucking game. It was just so fucking pathetic. Like, I'm literally, like, I'm not even hungover. I'll be honest. Like, we had a wedding this weekend. I'm not even really hungover. I'm just, like, mentally and physically exhausted. I feel fine, though. And I'm like, yeah, here we go, Broncos game, nice relaxing Sunday, this will be good. And I was like, wow, did they come out hungover? Are they throwing up on the side of the field? Because I know I would be. just from how disgusting this game looks. Like, God, what the... Like, that's really my takeaway. The offense was lifeless in this game. In a game where last week they looked really... Like, they were looking just as bad, but then Bo Nix said, fuck it, I'm doing my thing. Your plan's not working. Really just seems like a different... I don't know if vibe is the word. I don't know if, like, control was restricted here. And that probably cost them the game, because I know there was a late comeback in the fourth with the potential there. They just couldn't get it done. And no offense, Broncos, they're not going to win a lot of games if you're relying on the fourth quarter comeback. Not with this rookie quarterback right now. Not right now.
They can't get behind. Another tough spot because the Chargers were coming off the bye. But it's just, the Chargers to me, they're like a more complete version of Denver. When they have the defense, their offense is a little bit more advanced. Denver tried to come back late, made the game a little interesting, but Chargers, unfortunately, were kind of the right side pretty much the entire game.
Road favorite, too. Like, again, unbelievable. Like, division road favorite. Once again, it hit. It was big week for division road favorites, big week for favorites. I mean, I don't know. Now Denver is the short Thursday night game. We're going to talk about that at the end of the episode.
Yeah. But
the Chargers, they have a Monday night game. They've got the big win. I think the other thing, too, is the Chargers with a healthy O-line. When Herbert has time in the pocket and he's not rushed and he's now healthy, we're getting more of the Justin Herbert of old. But again, like, it was like J.K. Dobbins was really the star of that offense. It really wasn't Herbert, in my opinion. So, yeah, I don't know if that's the Greg Roman offense or John Harbaugh. But, yeah, that's... I don't know what to make of the Chargers yet, but I kind of have to respect them at this point, which is disgusting because that blonde-haired fucking California bitch just fucking... I fucking hate the Chargers so much. I really do. They make me sick. Okay. Not as sick as a Raiders fan, though. Pittsburgh came into Vegas and... mollywopped the shit out of the Vegas Raiders. Aiden O'Connell, nice knowing you, bud. You were an NFL quarterback. 32 for the Steelers, 13 for the Raiders. Justin Fields only had 145 passing yards. He went 14 for 24. He ran in for 2, got 59 rushing yards. Najee Harris, 106 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. How did Aiden O'Connell do? Your boy Aiden, the guy you said was better than Gardner Minshew, the guy you said who should have been the starter, 27 for 40, 227, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Didn't look good in this game.
I gotta say, here was my thing with that game. The Raiders had a chance early in the game. They were hanging around. But you watched the Bills game, right?
Yeah.
And they just hung around. Like, they had 3 straight drives where literally it was 1st and 20, but then they had a quarterback to bail them out. You could tell with the Raiders, like, they're not good enough to be bailed out. And the problem with the Raiders was it seemed like the start of every drive was a penalty, down play, and then the turnovers. I think they had a couple fumbles, and it's just like
two fumbles and a pick. That was another thing with the Denver game, by the way. I forgot to mention that. Denver had the same issue. Every time they started the ball, they fumbled it, or Bo Nix fucking lost the ball in some way.
These teams aren't good enough to, like, the Raiders are not good enough to overcome it. And sadly, I think the reason why they had a chance in the first half was Aiden O'Connell wasn't turning the ball over. But God, the Raiders play so conservative. They can't run the ball. Then they fumbled it. And then once they got behind, it's just this team can't come back. Now, the Raiders do. I think they get a drop in class this week. They play. I'm trying to remember who they play.
Oh, are you sure about that?
Am I wrong about that? No, they play the Rams. That's a drop in class.
Oh, you sure about that?
Yeah. Rams off a bye. I'm not saying they're going to win. That's a drop in class compared to the Steelers.
Okay. They're also on the road, but that's fine. I don't know if I got you on that one, but
Well, we'll fight about it.
This is an interesting. Where, like, you watch that Raiders game with Aiden O'Connell. What difference do you really have that he makes? Where you're now running to the book to say.
I think the only reason they were in the game at halftime was because he was taking care of the football.
I mean, he threw a pick, but that's fine. I mean,
that was that was bad. I'll give you that one. I don't know. Like, he doesn't make that much of a difference because they're not good enough to beat a team like the Steelers. The Steelers' defense is too good. The Raiders can't run the ball worth the shit. But here's what I really want to talk about real quick. Why is Justin Fields getting benched?
Oh, God, I know.
What's going on? It makes no sense.
I mean, he put up think of it this way. If you're like, I'm not a Steelers fan, but this is what I would think. We're winning. We are moving the ball, which is something we never did under Matt Canada, which is something we never did with Kenny Pickett. Justin Fields isn't perfect, but he doesn't turn the ball. He really doesn't turn the ball over. I mean, I got to look here. I really want to be sure. No interceptions. He didn't throw for any touchdowns. It's boring, but he ran in 2 on his own. You're getting points. Why do you care? You're winning games. You're 4-2. What the fuck? Russell Wilson? Really? Russell Wilson's that much of an upgrade at quarterback where you're comfortable benching this guy at 4. This reminds me, weirdly enough, of like when Peyton Manning was on injury in his last year. We were winning games with Brock Osweiler, and there were talks in Denver of like, should we bench Brock? Should Peyton come back in? You know what Denver was doing with Brock? They were getting points on the board. They weren't turning it over. We weren't relying on the defense. You know what we had to do when Peyton came back? Rely on the defense. This is what this move really reminds me of. It's like if they go with Russ, they're really putting it on the back of TJ Watt and the Steelers defense here. And I have a bad feeling that if they move to Russ, it takes 1 or 2 mistakes. Steelers fans are going to be booing. They're going to be calling for heads. They want Fields back in. And the minute Fields fucks up, it's going to be so wishy-washy, and this just has 7-9 written all over it because of it.
I don't know why they're starting. I mean, it's weird. You score 32 points and you're benching your quarterback.
It couldn't be me. It couldn't. I mean, I know Russell Wilson's getting like first team reps at practice, but I mean, there's no way.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that. I am really hoping that.
God, Steelers might be fade of the week if they do that. They really would. They don't deserve bets if they make them. All right, let's see here. We only got 4 games left, I think. So, moving on. Another 4:00 game. Oh, fuck. Okay, well, we have 2. All right, Atlanta, Carolina. Carolina got 20. Atlanta, 37. Jesus Christ. Well, the success of the Panthers was greatly exaggerated. One dead cat bounce with Andy Dalton. And then he remembered who he was, which is a backup quarterback in the NFL. And even then, he may not have that job for long. Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of either of these teams, truthfully. I think we know what the Panthers are on defense. I think we know they're a bad team. They're 1-5. The Falcons are like the most phony 4-2 team. It just seems like. It seems like they play a lot of close games against inferior opponents, and even against the good ones. It just seems like no one can get a read on them. Kirk Cousins outshines in the most random. Literally last week goes for 500. This week goes for less than half. I don't understand. Like, the Panthers defense is not worse than the Bucs. They're not better than the Bucs, but you could have fooled me last week. Tyler Algier, Bijan Robinson both had big days, 3 rushing touchdowns between the two of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I just am not. God, the Falcons just feel so phony for a 4-2 team. That's my takeaway. Carolina could have backdoored this.
I didn't learn anything in this game either. The Falcons, they won. They did okay. They could run the ball. Carolina is just another team that you're slowly starting to see. New England, Jacksonville, Carolina, teams that are just, they're going to lose,
Well, they hung around till the fourth. It was 28-20, and then it just got out of hand.
Yeah.
And then Andy Dalton making boneheaded picks.
Carolina was going to win.
Yeah, Andy Dalton throwing that boneheaded pick late in the fourth. That was a Bryce Young move.
Yeah, that was the dagger. That sealed it.
That was crazy. Yeah, not much else to really learn, though. Honestly, I'm with you there. Here's the big one. I think I'm going to defer to you on your thoughts because I don't deserve to talk after the handicap I made. This was my fade of the week. God, was I wrong? Dead wrong. Oh boy, Dallas 9.
This was you know what? Take some more.
Detroit 47.
What the fuck were you thinking? What were you?
I can tell you what. I'll tell you what I was thinking, but
what were you dreaming of?
I wasn't dreaming. Okay, look. Here's what I was thinking.
Dreaming of something. Let's play Dallas off a late Sunday night game against Detroit coming off a bye, the best ATS team for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
It'll work. What has Dallas done all year to make you think they're a good team? Nothing.
So I'll tell you what it was. And again, you're going to laugh. I didn't really think within the 3 to 4 weeks prior, the Lions had done much either. And the Lions were, now if the Lions were at home, I probably would have thought differently. But the Lions on the road in Jerry World. God, I did not think the Cowboys would lay this much of an egg.
Dallas 0-3 at home. They might lose Thanksgiving this year. Do they play Washington again Thanksgiving?
They do.
Oh, let's go. Boy, Washington's going to be a 6-point favorite by the time that game.
Yeah, but to give you a summation, week 1, Lions win in overtime against the Rams. They lose to the Tampa Bay Bucks at home. They barely beat Kyler Murray. So, and then they go to Seattle. They host Seattle on Monday Night Football. They pop off. They then get a bye week. So my thinking was kind of like, wow, just when they started getting hot, there's a bye week.
Okay, that's...
And I was worried. And I was like, maybe Dallas, like, it was not a phony, but I was like, well, they did beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Now they get to come home. Thought they would put up a better performance here. Like, honestly, that's really what God, they fell flat on their fucking face that whole game. And in Detroit, like, I should have known this was a revenge spot for Dan Campbell. I should have known better. But to answer your question, that was what I was thinking. Now look where it got me.
You were a schemer. You had plans. Look where that got you.
Oh,
that looks painful. Yeah.
It is.
Okay. I don't think we need to say anything more about this game.
Oh no, Mansman, go ahead. I need to take this one.
Detroit's like a top 3 team in the NFC, and Dallas is no good. And trust me, I was higher on Dallas than a lot of people. That's changing. They beat the Giants by 5. They won at Pittsburgh. But boy, everything was set up for a down spot. And I don't know, man. Dallas has played 3 home games and gotten blasted in each one.
Yeah, they got blasted by New Orleans. They got blasted by Detroit.
Baltimore.
Pretty sure.
Even
and Baltimore.
They scored 20 points late to make it look pretty.
Yeah, they
at home is but they just tortured.
Maybe Jerry should land a different helicopter at practice this time.
Jeez, at least they have their bye week. They can't lose this week, right?
Yeah, they could to injuries.
Yeah.
God, fade of the week, dog of the week, just dead wrong.
Bro, you did bad on your best bets. Like, I know we didn't keep track because of the wedding. I feel like we should be tied.
I'll give you my numbers. We can go from there, but I feel like we could wash this week. We'll pick it back up on week 7.
We're gonna wash. We're gonna wash this week.
Love that. I agree.
We literally had our best ATS week, and
it's a wash.
All right,
last game: Cincinnati 17, Giants 7. Sunday Night Football. in literally the worst game of the week. I thought the Browns-Eagles was bad. This was horrendous.
Bills gave it a run there with the penalties, but this one was worse. I went to sleep at halftime. This was horrible.
Well, it was exciting at first. Joe Burrow ran the 30-yard scramble in. I was like, okay, we got a game. Daniel Jones. Honestly, the guy had a lot of time in the pocket. The Bengals didn't really rush him too bad. I mean, I'll pull the game stats up, but it was like, this just seemed like a spot. I think that the Giants could have, kind of like the Cowboys game, they could have won that game if they had just clicked. They never did. I don't know if Malik Neighbors being out was the killer here, but Daniel Jones missed a lot of wide open throws. Daniel Jones missed a couple, he missed some key throws where he was just short. 22 for 41, 50%, 205 yards. He had a pick in this game. Nobody really shined here in this Giants offense, which I thought was shocking. I thought somebody would come through for him. Give credit to the Giants defense, though. They held the Bengals close. Looked like it was going to be a late backdoor cover by the Giants at this 6.5 number. And then kind of out of nowhere, Chase Brown got the late touchdown to seal the game. Thank you for not kneeling, Chase Brown, because that gave me my Bengals. Or was it 3.5, not 6.5? I had the Bengals minus 3.5. Yeah. Thank you, Chase Brown, for not kneeling it and giving me the points so I could get the cover.
Yep, and the Sharps all died again. That's what happened.
Yeah, a lot of the Sharps were on the Giants here. This game proved to me why. I think this was a game that the Sharps were right on. But again, you put your money on Daniel Jones in primetime. We went through all the numbers in our episode. So again, I ask, what the fuck were the Sharps thinking here?
Look, it's hard to say when the Giants look like the right side. I mean, the Bengals offense really struggled, but I don't know. Primetime Danny Dimes, we've seen it. And let's be honest, the Giants kicker missed 3 field goals or 2 field goals or something crazy like that. So it wasn't all on Danny Dimes, but the Giants, I give Daboll credit. I think he's got the team playing hard. They're just no good. They're really just not good. They need a quarterback. Daniel Jones just isn't good enough. He's just not. And now Andrew Thomas is out for the year for the Giants. Their season is quickly fading to irrelevancy, unfortunately for them.
Yeah, I mean, what are the Giants now? Are they 3-3 or 2-4?
I think they're 2-4. Yeah, 2-4. And they play who do the Giants have this week? Oh, they got a big game against the Eagles. 3-point home the Eagles.
Oh God, did it go down to 3?
I think that's what it is on ESPN Bet. I'm just looking on ESPN for now.
Gotcha. Pro tip and big hint for you, Money Mansman, as to where I'm going this week. I may or may not have grabbed that Giants plus 3.5.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I really want to fade the Eagles too. Obviously, I'm going to do some more looking into it come Friday, but yeah.
Yeah, really glad I grabbed that 3.5 when it was live. I think it was 4.5 on the look ahead too. So I know a lot of sharp bettors on that side. So you may see some late action on Philly and vice versa. Come closer to game time, might be closer to the Giants, but yeah. Oh, Bengals look ahead against the Cleveland Browns. What are your thoughts on that one?
Oh, it's tough. I mean, that doesn't really feel like a big look ahead spot.
The Browns, and the spread went down. It was 6.5 earlier. Now it's 5.5.
Browns are terrible. So
yeah, they're no good.
The Browns have a look ahead to the Ravens, if anything. Although I don't know. Tough for me to really say look ahead in a division game.
Fair enough. All right, are we ready to get to the Thursday night football game?
Yeah, let's do it. I know you're.
Yep. We have to give the numbers though before we do that. Last week I went 10-4 ATS, 11-3 on the money line. I went 8-6 on the over unders.
Oh shit! I I gave my numbers out to you, and then I forgot. Oh, I forgot to tabulate them. Son of a bitch.
Give me a second. I'll see if I can pull it real quick. Because you did send me those numbers. You were 10, same thing, 10-4, 11-3.
Oh, shit. Okay. Literally a wash.
We tied.
Okay. Literally a wash then. It works out.
It does work.
But no, great week for us. We were, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Good week. Good week for you. I lost 3 units in betting.
Well, I did too.
Well, shit. Okay.
Dumbo didn't have good bets. I was good picks, but whatever.
Yeah, that Cleveland Philly over under was a big one. I had big money on Denver +3. That didn't come through. Money on Dallas, that was dead. Yeah, really all my bets involving an underdog in some way or shape or form lost. I got clipped with the Ravens over under too. That was a killer. Same with the Washington team total. I gave that out. Washington under 22.5. That was a killer. That was dead because of that last minute penalty. So yeah, hopefully this week we're just on the sharper side of these numbers and we move on. But we have another week. It's week 7. Believe it or not, we only have 11 weeks of football left after this.
Oh, don't say that.
Plus playoffs. All right. Thursday night football. It is the Denver Broncos as a -152 favorite traveling to the New Orleans Saints, +128 underdog at home. The look ahead had the Saints favored as -1.5. They are now catching 2.5. Over under is set 36.5. Money Mansman, I think, I can't remember whose turn it is, but it is my team. I can go first if you want.
Why don't you go first with your team? Because I have been thinking about this, and I hate the number, but you go ahead.
Yeah, sure. This is a game to me, like, and again, I'm trying to leave all my bias out of this one. It's a prime example of why sometimes you test the trends against what side you want to pick and see where it takes you. So like I'm going to do like 5 different stat trends and it's going to like kind of show you my point that I'm going to make at the end of it. Starting with this, road teams this year are 3-3 straight up. Underdogs are 1-5 straight up, 2-4 ATS on Thursday night football games this year. So taking that into consideration, you could say it's a push now with the Saints being a dog. With this opening as the Broncos as the dog, I would say 1-0 Saints. Given that the road teams are only 50%. But, you know, let's screw it. Say 1-0 Broncos. Broncos in their last 5 Thursday night football matchups, 1-4 straight up in ATS. But the Saints, they've gone 0-5 ATS in their last 5 going to 2022 under Dennis Allen. So right now, I guess you could say 2-0 Denver. Broncos, they're 2-1 ATS in non-conference road spots under Sean Peyton. Dennis Allen at home against AFC teams is only 2-3 straight up. So with the Broncos laying points, I don't really know what that looks like, but with DA only being 2-3 straight up, call it a push. Non-conference road favorites, 5-3 ATS, 6-2 straight up this year. However, the AFC non-conference road teams, they're only 7-11 straight up ATS. So again, let's call that a push and add a total to 1. So now we got 2-1. Broncos are 4-1 straight up all times in New Orleans, so maybe 3-1. Here's my point. Like a lot of these stats you could give off to make your argument. Sometimes you cherry pick stats and just use them for your argument. But I really think this is a game you could take a lot of these stats against Denver, use that against them, and say, well, I'm going to pick the Saints. Here's what I think. This line flip-flopped. The Broncos were a 1.5 point underdog when this opened. Now it's flipped, and Broncos are now 2.5 point favorite. Why are they a 2.5 point favorite? Well, probably mostly because of the betting. According to FanDuel, I wanted to say New Orleans was originally getting the money, but it might have flipped to Denver. Let's see what the update says. Denver's now getting 55% of the money, but New Orleans is still getting 55% of the tickets. So there's a lot of pros Joe's action here going on. But either way, this line flipped. So it was 1.5. Chris Olave being out, Taysom Hill doubtful.
Yeah,
maybe that's worth a point. Maybe. So I'm thinking, okay, this line flipped to what? 1.5 to 2.5 at worst. Think about it this way. If this was a neutral site game, New Orleans loses another point. So Denver should be 3.5. I don't know if I would bet it at 3.5. I would think maybe you do take New Orleans at 3.5. You're kind of getting value here with Denver on that one. But now you're kind of getting the Broncos as a road favorite, which has only happened once with Sean Payton, where they pushed on the 3, but they did beat the Bears. Last week, this Broncos team lost against a very healthy Chargers defense. Denver lost PS too early. They don't have them this week. That's a big question mark. At the end of the day, I'm getting under 3 with the favorite on Thursday Night Football in a spot where AFC non-conference road favorites have done well. I think over 3.5, you may want to take your chances on Spencer Rattler and the Saints with the value on that number. I think 3 is such a key number in terms of the spread. But here's the thinking with Spencer Rattler. You're really betting on the fact that he had one good quarter of football last week against a really bad Tampa Bay defense. But you have to ignore that Baker Mayfield also threw 3 interceptions in that game to keep it close. You have to kind of admit that the Broncos' painfully slow start was a major factor in the fact that they lost last week. You also really have to ignore that if you're betting the Saints, you have to really ignore how bad this Saints defense is. This is a Sean Payton, more or less, I don't know if it's a revenge spot, but big game for Sean Payton coming into New Orleans. Where it lays, where the logic, I think it goes. It pushes me to Denver. I'm going Denver, but I wouldn't lay a lot of money on this. This would be, I'd say no more than 3/4 of a unit if it were me as a bettor. But I'm going Denver because I thought it was the right side at 1.5. I thought if there was this neutral site, Denver's a 1.5 point favorite. When I was like, well, that kind of makes sense. Because if you take away the home field advantage, you're telling me Spencer Rattler's a 2.5 point dog, which is where it's at right now. And I think that just makes sense. So we're getting the key value here of where I think this game should be. Any higher than 2.5, I think you start thinking the other direction. That's my handicap.
Okay, I'm going to keep mine brief then, because you said a lot.
I did.
The number scared me, but then I remembered that I should be sharp and just think about this is a big drop in class for Denver when it comes to defenses. The Saints defenses really struggle. And I think the important thing are the cluster injuries for New Orleans. They're missing their top 2 receivers, both out of the game.
Raheem Shaheed.
And then you factor in Carr. The Saints are basically going to be throwing out 3rd and 4th string receivers. Now, mind you, PS2 being out is a big loss, but otherwise the Denver secondary is pretty much intact, and they're the second-ranked defense, essentially DVOA. All in all, I think that's the biggest factor. I think the Denver defense could hold New Orleans. I think Denver is ultimately the better team based upon what I've seen. And I don't know if New Orleans is going to have the ability to overcome those cluster injuries on a short week. Exactly like you said, Spencer Rattler looked good against Tampa Bay's bad defense. This is a big step up in class for him.
Yeah, and Spencer Rattler, he only looked good in the second quarter. First quarter, he didn't look good. He got shut out in the 3rd and 4th.
Yeah.
That's a big thing that I think a lot of people are forgetting here on the Saints side. He had one good quarter of football. The rest of it was pretty forgetful. So, yeah, Denver 2.5 is the play for me. What's your over-under on this? 36.5 points. I heard a lot of sharps going on the under here. I just think that's a trap.
I'm gonna go the over here. Yeah, I mean, we've seen the Saints defense struggle. And the problem is if Denver gets up big, let's say they score 23, you don't need that much. Like there could very easily be some Saints like garbage touchdowns, some garbage points, 23-17, 26-17, a couple turnovers. This reminds me of the Broncos Raiders game where there were a couple like BS scores to get to the over. I think games were like 10-4 to the over last week. So the over has been hitting. This number seems very low to me. And I'd especially be looking at Denver's team total over. I don't know what it is, but that would be a look too.
Yeah, I could take a peep. What does FanDuel say right now?
DraftKings, it looks like 19.5.
For Denver, that's low.
Over there. To get 20? Think about it. Does Denver win with less than 20 in this game? I don't know.
No, they don't. I can tell you right now. I'll tell you right now they don't.
So, over Denver team total, 19.5.
Gotcha. Any prop plays you want to give out other than the team total? I know that's a big one. Do you have... there's a couple I have, but did you have any in mind, or did you have any you want me to look up?
Ah, jeez. What is Alvin Kamara's rushing attempts?
Rushing attempts.
I don't know if I want to go with that, though. There could be a passing game script if the Saints get behind.
Player rush attempts. Alvin Kamara over under 16.5.
Over under 16.5. Yeah. Here we go. Ready? I'm going to go to Reliable. Spencer Rattler, interception.
I knew it.
-135. There we go.
I knew it. And I'm also going to hit that, by the way.
Not that I think he's necessarily going to be loose with the ball, but I could just see late in the game, 26-13. He's got to force some plays up there. Denver gets it there.
Here's one for you. +110, Bo Nix to get 200 passing yards. Which I know is a number I don't think he's really hit lately, but he's also had he's had a string of tough defenses. Oh no, he did get it. He's hit it in 4 of his last 5. Besides that Jets game, he's hit over 200 yards in this game. You're getting plus money here. I think with the Saints defense being a step down from the Chargers, and honestly, even with that home game against the Raiders, I think 200 yards is feasible. His over-under is set at 190. So you can even bet the over on that end if you want to get closer to even. But getting plus money on a line that I think he's hit all the time recently should be a lock, especially with how bad the Saints' pass defense has been.
Yeah. The Saints' pass defense has been bad. I wonder if you're looking for something here. I'm playing him in fantasy. I'm an over 45.5 receiving yards.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned that because that was actually going to be my next prop. Believe it or not, and again, I'm going to make sure I say this correctly. Courtland Sutton has scored in 2 of his last 3 games. He didn't score against the Raiders, but he scored last week against the Chargers. He scored against the Jets. He is plus 240 right now on Fanatics. Anytime touchdown.
Oh,
he is the number 1 guy. Everybody just seems to forget how much of a scoring machine Courtland Sutton was. I think Javonte Williams is an anytime touchdown is a trap. Bo Nix anytime touchdown plus 240 is also tempting. I just think Bo Nix airs the ball out here. I love the plus 240 value there. So that's my anytime touchdown prop. And then finally, Mansman, if you have any other ones before I go.
No, that's pretty much it. I've been a little down with the props lately, unfortunately. Very sad.
That's unfortunate, buddy. That is very, very unfortunate. We're going to go rushing props, though. Give me Alvin Kamara under 70.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, I'm thinking with the game script, the way this game script's going to go. Oh, did I lose you?
I'm here.
I think the way the game script's going to go, they could be forced to pass. So that makes sense. Yeah,
I think this is going to be a big passing game. I forgot. I was gonna say, has Kamara been? Yeah, it's really been lately. Ever since that Kansas City game, he hasn't really been rushing the ball. Albeit though, he has been getting the attempts. But yeah, just lately they haven't really been feeding Kamara. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it is a game script thing. I don't know if Dennis Allen has just kind of pulled him back, even though they were successful giving him the ball. But yeah, I just see this as Alvin Kamara unders for me. 70.5 is a bit of a stretch here lately, especially with Denver's defense as good as they are. As I say, Denver, they only allowed in 6 games 1,000 passing yards to teams. And with rushing yards, they've actually allowed only 685, averages 114 yards per game. So, and they're only averaging 16 points to opponents. So, last one I'll give out is probably that Saints team total, whatever the under is.
Oh.
Which it looks like is
19
and a half.
Oh, that's it. It's 19 and a half too. That's weird.
Interesting. Yeah, I got nothing else there though, folks. So Broncos are my play for Thursday Night Football. Make sure you check us out Friday when we give out our Week 7 handicaps and picks. We'll give out our best bets. We'll retract the Kaser bet, and we will go from there. Money management, any final thoughts, comments, or concerns?
No, that's it. Good video. We went a little long, but
it was long overdue. We were back.
We're back.
All right. Thank you, DeGents, for checking us out. Make sure you check us out on Spotify. Check us out on x.com/DeGents podcast. And make sure you like, follow, subscribe, hit that bell notification on YouTube. I'm Big Bucks Beta.
Money management signing off. And
as always, go make that mother. All right, buddy.
Ooh, all right.